Signature guitars. Your favourite artist probably has one, and they've been around since probably Les Paul had his first guitar made by Gibson way back when in the 1950s. But I was on Facebook the other day, and as always there was lots of drama about a new signature model that's either out or is coming out, and there's a lot of controversy about it. So in this episode of NewtyGuitars, we're going to be talking about signature guitars. A lot of companies will work with artists to generally try and make something unique that's based on that particular artist's specifications, whether it's a particular shape, control placement, setup, scale length, tweaks to the capacitors and the electronics in pedals, but a lot of them are generally based off of existing models, probably because it's cheaper to get something and modify it rather than just start building everything from the ground up. Of course, there are a few particular exceptions, shall we say. Now, there's a signature guitar coming out from Jackson either at the date of filming or within the next couple of weeks, and it's been long awaited because this person has been a Jackson artist for quite a while now, and his particular guitar is quite unique. So the story behind the guitar is that it was apparently a custom shop cast off that the customer didn't want anymore for whatever reason that might have been, but it was a left-handed model. So he offered it to this artist, and Jimi Hendrixed it and basically switched around a few things on it, which is why it looks very, very unique. It looks like it's got a reverse headstock, but actually it's not, because it's a left-handed model. The control placement's all filled in, all that sort of thing there as well. And the idea of basing a guitar off of that is actually pretty cool. But a lot of the comments I was seeing on the leak was saying Indonesian trash wood, or firewood, sorry, and people are better off buying an American custom shop and all this sort of thing. And there's a couple of points that I want to talk about with that, because I own two signature guitars, both Jackson, and they're both Jeff Loomis models. So I have one of them just here. I have his signature Kelly 6-string just to hand here. Played this with a lot of shows. It's very good. I also have his 7-string. Now, the reason that I bought those wasn't because Jeff Loomis is a guitar hero of mine. Of course, he's extremely talented. Nevermore, a great band. He did very well in Arch Enemy, and the Conquering Dystopia album he did with Keith Merrow are all absolutely brilliant albums. But I wanted them for a particular set of specifications and pickups that I couldn't get anywhere else. So namely, I wanted active pickups, I wanted Seymour Duncan active pickups, I wanted a neck through, and I wanted something that had high-end specs on it, but that was affordable for me. And of course, he's got his US custom shop, which is like $5,000, which is out of reach for the majority of the guitar playing world. So pro level signature models are also very, very useful, and they cut down the costs by moving manufacturing from places where manufacturing costs are extremely high for reasons of things like tariffs, imports, wages, holiday pay, pensions, all that kind of thing, cost of living, and they move them to different factories where they can make them quickly, high quality, for less, and then ship them out. So these particular signature models made in Indonesia, they retail about just over £1,000, one to £1,500, and that's as good as guitar as I'm going to need. It's absolutely brilliantly made. The person that I got this from, I bought it off of eBay, they said that there was an issue with it, but it just needed a couple of tweaks on it, trussrod adjustment and that kind of thing, and it plays absolutely brilliantly. Yes, I had to replace the toggle switch, but I'm quite hard on those anyway. They also moved other manufacturing to China, And I think it's really misleading to say that just because something's made in China doesn't mean that it's trash. A lot of electronics are made in China. A lot of new electric cars are made in China. A lot of computing stuff. There's just so much that's made there, and it's of such a high quality that you can't possibly say that everything comes out of there is crap, basically. Similarly, you can have something made in the EU or America or wherever, Japan, and it'd be not great, really. So for people to say that it's Indonesian firewood, as one of the comments puts it, I think is extremely misleading and really misrepresenting what these countries can do. Because you can get a great guitar from anywhere. Like, yes, back in the day, they weren't so great, but things have changed, really. This isn't the 90s anymore. Manufacturing can be good anywhere, just as it could be rubbish anywhere. And I'm certain that this guitar, although it's not necessarily to my taste in particular, this model that's coming out, I think there'll be high quality. I think that there's a market for it. And I think that it offers something a little bit different. Because my gripe with some signature models is basically they get a standard guitar and they make it a different color. So kind of looking at Fender Strats here. This isn't going to be a Fender Strat video. I'm not getting involved in that. But every time I see a signature Strat, I can't tell the difference between that and any of their other models. They don't look any different. There's nothing different about them. They're all exactly the same. Comment down below if you think I'm wrong, but that might be a controversial take. I'd rather that if someone was going to have a signature model, that it'd be something a little bit different. But going back to the firewood thing, so someone said that it's going to be however much money. I mean, signature guitars these days, if it's a Pro Plus range, it's going to be about 1,500-1,600 quid. Can you imagine how much more it would be if it was made out of a rarer wood? So let's assume it's made out of basswood, okay? Quite a good tone wood if you believe in that sort of thing. It's got a single pickup, parallel axis from the looks of the photos that I saw. But basswood is lightweight, it's reliable, works well. There's nothing wrong with it, okay? If you take something like mahogany, there's lots of different types. So a couple of models are made out of Naoto, which is mahogany adjacent. Very similar, but more easily replenishable, from what I understand. And it's easy to manufacture and it's cheaper. If you think of something like Honduran mahogany, so looking this up, this tree takes a long time to grow. It takes 60 years for it to be harvestable. It's also on a endangered red list. Permits needed to be able to harvest it is under the CITES regulations. So that means it's incredibly rare. And when it is made, it's made in for guitars that are ridiculously expensive, really, because of that that kind of heritage on that wood, that provenance. If you had African mahogany, then takes less time to grow, about 25 to 30 years for it to be coming mature enough for you to be able to harvest it, but it's a bit more labor intensive because you need to keep pruning the branches to make sure you have a straight trunk for you to be able to work it. But again, there's effort that goes into that. So I think a lot of places are looking at alternatives to us, because if you think about how many guitars are made, how many are released at NAMM, how much wood there is, and what the kind of resources are for that sustainability, I don't think it's really that feasible. So you have other companies making, I think Emerald Guitars in Ireland make guitars out of carbon fibre, and you have Songwriters who are making guitars out of a resin called Arium, I think it is, so it's one piece moulded. And I bet that if you heard an Aristides guitar in a mix, you wouldn't be able to tell that it wasn't made out of wood. If you think of Ishan, if you think of Leprous albums, those are two off the top of my head that use those guitars. Mike Stringer from Spirit Box, bet you can't tell the difference, really, unless you knew that it was the instrument that they played. lastly as well is what artists kind of get signature models. And I don't think you have to be a really technical guitarist to have a signature model. It's about reach, it's about the impact, the cultural impact as well, the tours that you're playing. A lot of companies will work with artists, whether they're touring artists or whether they're YouTube artists, initially for their reach, because they want people to be seen to be playing their gear ultimately. And if you're more of a songwriter sort of guitarist, but you're touring Europe, you're touring the US, you're signed, you've got album sales, companies are probably going to pick you up. Really, equally, if you're an Instagram guitarist, let's say that you've got so many 100,000 followers, someone might pick you up because you can do some absolutely ridiculous sweeps, tapping licks, like really technical kind of things. And I think that people sort of forget about the songwriting side of things. Ed Sheeran has a couple of signature models. He sold millions of records, but he's a songwriter. And this particular artist who's getting their signature launched in the next couple of days, they were part of one of the biggest nu metal bands that was. Basically, they were part of such a huge music movement, and yeah, the riff may not be like 200 BPM semi-quaver arch spire kind of tech death riffs, but they reached a lot of people. They had a huge cultural impact, and their stage presence is absolutely iconic. And all of those things have come together to make this artist get the signature model, which I think is very well deserved. But anyway, what's your thoughts on signature guitars? Let me know in the comments down below. Let me know if you agree or disagree with any of the comments I've made in this video, which are entirely my own. But have a great day, take care, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.